All right, guys. First things first, I want to thank all of you guys for again just hopping on the call or hopping on the market recap for tonight. And I really do appreciate you guys taking out your time to spend your Mondays and Wednesday evenings with us here for a nice 15 to 30 minutes. As usual, we'll be going over some of the setups that we saw in the marketplace today, including some of the plays and alerts that were given out in the server. And we'll do a Q&A session after we look at a couple of different charts here. So the goal is to keep this one nice and tight, no more than 30 minutes. So hopefully we adhere to that. I know last time we were a little over a little bit. I think we did like 55 minutes last time, but we had a lot of great questions. So I'm trying to flow through this and make it as clear and concise as possible. We're also spending time to make sure I do answer you guys' questions in a reasonable manner. Okay. So usually I start off with SPY, but SPY wasn't even played much today. I know we tracked some of it. We were looking at how the market was reacting, but we're actually going to start off with IWM, the major ticker for today, right? And we're going to look at what I was looking at when I gave the alert this morning, which should actually be pretty obvious once you look at the charts for those who have been frequenting these market recaps and kind of have some insight into, or not insight, have some familiarity with how I like to analyze a stock chart, right? So first things first, before we even see the run up here, who can tell me what was interesting about this chart from the jump, right when we open it on the market today? Give you guys about like 10 seconds to maybe type up an answer. Finance girl, welcome, welcome. Break above the 200 EMA. That is a very, very, very good answer, Richie. Very, very good answer. But it's not just that. Yes, covering salt. Right from the top, there was a tight consolidation of EMAs. But what else coincided with that? Okay. Remember, we opened up here, 9:30, a very, very tight consolidation on the EMAs. What around in this chart area am I looking at? It can be like, I think we're going to see a push up at some point. Yes, both of you guys are correct, Ben and Richie. The volume push, we had consecutive large green candles, okay? We actually had, yes, volume growth, John. Do you guys remember when we have two candles which are bigger than the preceding red candles? What do we call those? Yes, we had a pair of bullish engulfing candles here, right? And then we also had that coincided with RSI was very oversold at one or nearing oversold. So we knew we're going to see some sort of uptrend. Combine that with the uptick past all of the EMAs, meaning on the 1 minute chart, there was no more resistance near the top once it got past this level here, because all the EMAs were the same number, right? They're off by 1 cent each. So once we got past that on this huge candle, it was rocket ship, right? I gave the alert. I believe I gave it around here, right near market open. Correct, Ben. Blue sky break. Now, when I actually gave the alert with IWM, and this is actually the reason why, for those of you guys who were in the chat this morning, you saw me post actual live chart movements on the on what was going on with the ticker, because a lot of times people say, "Well, IWM moves so fast. How did you get the fill?" And you guys saw, I did that for a reason, to show you guys just how quickly IWM can move. Because when I took the alert, I went up 4% right off the bat. Then I was actually down on these red candles. I was down right here for about 47 seconds to a minute. I was down 4%. It was from up 4% to down 4%. And then immediately after that, I was up 6%. Then all of a sudden I was up 14%. And then we just rocketed out of it. Right. I did that so you guys can see how fast it was. But the impetus for why I chose that as the alert was I was looking to see how we reacted to the charge. We did not break below the EMAs upon the entrance, right? We actually held the support, bounced off of it, and then once the EMA 20 began to separate, we bounced off of that and we were in for a blue sky break. Now, this area is where I was like, wow, you know, I'm kind of feeling like we're getting a little toppy, right? If you guys remember, I actually kind of I went bearish on IWM after we went up 200% because this alert here in this time frame here, we went from down 4% to over 200%. Had I held longer, because if you guys remember, I had set stops right here. We were at 200, and then I got kicked out of the. No, I lied. It was here on the first the green candle, the red candle. I had set stops at the 158% mark, and they actually kicked me out right there. And then it proceeded to continue its trend upwards, which had I held, it would have been a 300% return on that ticker. I believe someone actually even said that they got 320% off of that IWM alert this morning. So that was, forgive me, I'm not looking at the chat right now, so I can't remember who it was. But if you're here and you are the person, congratulations, because that was an incredible way of holding through that little bit of volatility. And yeah, so that's what I was thinking there with IWM. Okay, it was forming all the basis for a nice little breakout, and then once we were able to surpass all of the resistance on the EMAs, combine that with the increase in volume, we were gonna see some sort of push, right? Now, again, at full transparency, I did not anticipate a $3 push to the upside. Okay, because as you guys know, I went bearish on IWM, which actually kind of played out too. I know Ben said he had like I think it was 40% off IWM puts after I was talking about that we're going to see some downside from the top, which is our retracement back down to the EMA 20, and that's where he I believe that's where you entered, right, Ben? Correct me if I'm wrong again in the chat, but I know I was talking about it for about 15 to 20 minutes there. Yeah, perfect. And he got 40%, 30 to 40% off that drop. So that's a nice little play, guys. Just to show you guys how insane IWM's run was today. All of this happened on extremely low volume. Okay, so if you guys remember, I said the first 30 minutes of IWM, we had $6 million volume. What does that mean? I mean, when you compare it to another industry like SPY, $6 million is nothing, right? Because usually SPY averages like between 50 and $85 million in volume on a daily basis. IWM, the most recent 10 days, was averaging about 30 million per day. And someone actually said, well, over this specific time period, I believe it was Momeo, he was saying that we're actually a little overbought for the first 30 minutes compared to how IWM usually reacts. But the problem was after we had that major run up, what happened? I just have to zoom in a little bit here. Who could tell me what happened after we had this run up? That was kind of hard to see with all these other indicators I got. Consolidation, not necessarily consolidation. It's not what I'm looking for specifically on this. I was actually looking at yes, Uncle Pennybags. The volume's drying up. Because if you guys, I don't know if you guys remember, I actually gave a volume update on IWM like 3 hours after this crazy run where we're still riding above all the EMAs, which also, by the way, is a good sign because if you zoom out, what's happening here, we're getting higher lows and higher highs every time. So we reach our top of 194.36 today. We never fell below the EMA 50, which was a very, very good sign for a continued uptrend, but also bodes well for a potential major pullback in the coming days. If you guys know, I'm thinking that we're going to see mid 191s again before the end of the week. Not 100% certain, but I think everything is setting up for that. And I'll zoom out and show you guys why. But once we kind of held steady for a while here, the volume never picked up. But 3 hours later, we went from $6 million in volume by 10 o'clock, opening at 9:30, to about 1 o'clock, we only had $10 million in volume total. So we saw more volume in the first 30 minutes of the opening bell than we did for the next half trading day. But the tickers continued to rise significantly, right? So like I said, generally speaking, that doesn't bode well for the long-term sustainability of a ticker like this, right? I think we're going to see a pretty significant pullback in the next coming days. And yeah, man, $6 million of volume is nothing. And that's why I was so shocked. I'm like, man, this volume the trend doesn't make any sense. But that was my line of thinking. I knew we were gonna have some sort of push to the upside. Did not expect a $3 push to the upside. I definitely expected a $1.50, which still would have got us 100% regardless, based off of where we entered the trade. But again, congratulations to those who were able to take the trade, and for those who held even longer than I did, congratulations, because that was a hell of a way to start the week. So that being said, guys, we got our breakdown a little bit on IWM. We saw a little bit of retracement back down to the lower end of the RSI levels. And I think that we're going to see a continuation of this as the market opens tomorrow. So I wouldn't be surprised if we open the low 133 on 193s or high 192s, just based off of how we were trending to end the day. So like I said, remember what I'm saying. I'm expecting 191, mid 191 sometime before the end of the week. If I'm wrong, based off we get some news or there's some, earnings that happen that's a lot more bullish than expected, I could be very well wrong, but that's just what my intuition is saying. If we zoom out here on the daily, we can actually see that it's likely that we try for a gap fill here. Okay. And that's, near the double top levels here, but I think we're going to see a little bit of a gap fill before that again, because we're still overbought on the daily. So that was my analysis on IWM, guys, why I took the trade this morning. And like I said, it played out very, very well. I'm excited for those who were able to get out with us. So that's that one. And as always, if you guys have any questions about IWM, drop them in the chat. And how do I use the EMA 5? I actually don't use the EMA 5 realistically. I have the ones I have active. I have the 20, the 50, the 60, and the 200 active at all times. I don't like the EMA 5 just because I'm like, all right, it's a 5-day trend. I'd rather just look at the daily chart and I can get the same views there. And I'm looking at more when I'm looking at the 5-day chart. I'm just kind of looking at the technical patterns versus the indicators, right? I'm looking to see, are we having a cup and handle? Are we? Yes, I will do Meta as well. That's actually gonna be the next one. But for this together, are we right on top of a lot of support? Generally speaking, yes, Ben. And I'm gonna get to the actual question portions because I don't want to take too much time away from the meta analysis really quick, and then we'll have more time for the Q&A. So just drop all your questions in the chat, guys, and I'll come back to them as we go through. So the next thing I want to look at, guys, is Meta. All right. And I'm going to tell you what I was looking at and also why I was wrong. Okay. So let me find out the exact time I took the puts. Give me one moment here, okay? Excuse me, sorry, guys. So I took Meta puts initially at 12:30. So what was going on at 12:30? All right. So as you can see here, we were actually in a little bit of a down period. Okay. And actually on the initial alert, I went up 3%. I believe Hovering Salt got in with me, so he'd be able to validate that statement because he got in shortly after me. Maybe he had a little bit better average, but we went up a little bit here as a retest. My initial thinking was because we had broken past the EMA 20 and we were getting a candle close around the EMA 50. I was assuming that we were going to get that candle close below the 60 and it was going to be a full-on rejection below the 200. That was my initial reaction. Couple that with the fact that we were trading well above, the RSI bands for a large portion of the day, right? And my thinking is, okay, tech is going crazy right now, but QQQ is stalling out. Now, generally speaking, large cap or mega cap tech stocks follow QQQ because they make up such a large proportion of the ETF. So you have, Meta, Apple, Google, Microsoft, all those kind of mirror QQQ to some extent. Not all the time because they do have their own news and one could offset the other inside the actual ETF and cause different movements and whatever the case is. But when I saw them, I was like, cool, we're gonna see a little bit of a dry up. The volume is still not there compared to a normal trading day, so to speak. But with the way that the volume trend was going, I'm like, okay, we're gonna see a little bit of a downtrend. However, instead of seeing that rejection past the EMA 60 to the 200, like I was anticipating, we actually bounced off of the 200 here. Okay, so that was my first indicator. Okay, now I'll have to find a point to average down, right? And I was like, okay, well, this is the trade itself doesn't expire to the end of the week. We got some time to play out. But I also wanted to see, well, where was our line in the sand? Where should my line in the sand be? And so upon the alert, my line in the sand was actually our 310 window, right? Why was it 310? Because I was riding this double top here, okay? This double top is actually in line with EMA 200 for the last few days, right? So that's what I was anticipating when I said, hey guys, 310, I think I said 310.30 was my cutoff point. Because I'm like, if we retest 310, 20, 24, 25, and we reject based off of the double top, then the trend will continue and I'll be able to hold that trade for maybe a day or two longer, and I'll give it some more time to play out. And by then, hopefully it would have played out in our favor based off of that technical analysis, right? However, what happened? Once we bounced off the 200 here, we found a little bit of uptrend. What happened? Retested the 200. But who can tell me what this is right here? Yes, yes. And I know some of you guys are probably like, this is the most basic pattern ever. Trade runner, come on, what's going on? It's more so of like a refresher for everybody because it's good when you're able to identify these chart patterns on your own, right? So I apologize if it sounds a little bit repetitive, but it's good for reinforcement, guys. So yes, it's a double bottom, but here's the thing. Let's zoom out a little bit, right? Exactly, man. Exactly. But let's zoom out. What else do you guys see here aside from the double bottom? Now, this is where we get into some real analysis. You know what I mean? I'll give you guys about 15 more seconds and I'll actually just jump in and give you all the answer. Those are some pretty good answers, some pretty good answers. Uncle Pennybags, that's not quite an inverse head and shoulders. Reason why is because there's no clear delineation between where the like an extended dip, which if for it to be an inverse head and shoulders, it'd have to be a little bit longer of a head here to be clear. And not quite a cup and handle either. There was definitely a retest at the 200 finance girl. And yes, we are above the EMA. So there we go. Ben got it. Higher lows in addition to a double bottom. Now remember, a double bottom is a continuation pattern, right? Also known as a reversal trend. We are double bottoming here off the 200 EMA, but we're also seeing higher lows. So right there, that's when I around this time when I said, hey guys, my line in the sand is 310.30. Because if we continue this uptrend with higher lows and we blow past that that double top area had outlined, I just kind of screwed up over here, but there we go. And we blow past this double top area that I had on the weekly chart, then that means that we are no longer in a rejection zone for Meta. Okay, so what ended up happening? We got a retest. We actually saw a little bit of green again here on our lower averages. I believe I was up 2.5 to 3% on this dip because I averaged down a little bit. But then what happened? We shot right back up below back to the EMA cross. And like I said, when we have an EMA cross, two things are going to happen: either a severe rejection or a push to the upside. And we actually have to push to the upside, retested the 50, bounced off of that, and we just rode that all the way. So I actually exited here because on this candle, once we had this candle up to the wick touched $3 and 310.40 on the wick, my stops hit. Then we saw a candle drop, and it's like, oh man, maybe my stops hit too early. But then we got the candle closed, we bounced off right above it, and not quite a bullish engulfing candle, but we had these three here, which is another bullish indicator. Who can tell me what these three candle patterns are called on a technical chart? Yes, three white guys. Yes, three white soldiers. 3 white soldiers. So that is a bullish indicator on the short-term chart, typically, right? So again, all this came in together to form a confirmation that we are no longer in a bearish sentiment on tech, and that it would be best for me to exit puts at that time, and I should not take any puts for the rest of the day. If you guys heard me in the chat, I said, hey, I'm probably gonna sit out for a little bit. I'm not gonna make any additional plays just because I need a clear confirmation. I didn't want to play the upside and say, oh, we're going to buy some more calls, and then knowing that we're right near the top of the RSI belt, RSI bands, and then that we're going to see a little bit of a volume decrease at some point as well. So cut my losses there, and as you can see what happened, Meta kept going up. And had I held, thinking, oh, we're gonna get lower, I would have been down about 40% right here at 311.41, probably more than that. Yeah, the earnings, if you actually looked at the premiums are super inflated right now. So that earnings definitely played a factor into it. A lot of tech earnings are coming up actually, yes. But that's why another reason why I wasn't comfortable holding, because I'm like the theta burn is going to be disgusting if I held it. Like I said, being down 40% from there, it'll take a significant drop. I probably have to see the puts were alerted at 307.50. I probably have to see like 306 if I held that long in order to see a reasonable return. So I was more comfortable saying, hey, look, I'll take a $200 loss. I had 5 contracts. Again, something I'm be a little bit more transparent with would be the amount of contracts I purchased on the alerts, because to give you guys some perspective of how I'm scaling, because that's one question I get all the time, and I'm sure that the other traders get it as well. How are we scaling properly? I even think I saw some of the questions in the in this Zoom chat. But starting off with 3 contracts, which is all house money based off the IWM and Google plays. That, by the way, that Google swing I gave on Friday, you guys, that who else got into that? That was pretty nice, right? But yeah, and I saw that was a reversal trend, and I was like, you know what, risk management, let me cut here and not blow, $1,500 hoping for a potential reversal that might never come. All right. So that being said, guys, that was the analysis of the 2 major tickers today. I know Ace gave NVIDIA, but if I'm being honest, I didn't really take an in-depth look at NVIDIA's chart for today. So I don't want to give you guys any false information, but we could take a brief look at it really quickly before we get into the Q&A. And this chart was actually a lot cleaner than the other tech charts today. And if you actually zoom out, let's take a look at the 15-minute on video. Oh, okay. Okay, well, the 15 minutes has a completely different story than the 10-minute or the 1 minute. So you can see here, video, excuse me, we are seeing a potential retest of the EMA 200 down here. And we actually got down right below the EMA 60, right? But what happened here, guys? Our favorite chart pattern on the technical side. Don't worry, you don't have to answer the chat. That was a rhetorical question this time. We double bottom. Once we saw the double bottom break, we went through the previous resistance here on the retest and blew past that. We had a nice little rise up. So from down here, we're getting a retest of that 200 EMA, which if you look at it here on the chart, every time we retest the 200, what happens? Or get near the 200, it's a nice little bounce, right? Retest the 200, bounce off of it. So historically, NVIDIA on the 15-minute chart, it's having the same pattern consistent, right? So I'm so sick of NVIDIA. NVIDIA made a lot of people a lot of money today. And you can even see the RSI bands trend just in line with all of the uptrends and downtrends on NVIDIA. So that's what we're looking at there. And I mean, the play worked out, the downtrend and then the reversal. So with NVIDIA, zooming out is the key, and understanding that stocks like to move in cycles, right? So if we're getting a cycle, we're like, okay, cool, we retested 200, we bounce off it consistently for the last, however many months, then it's highly likely that the trend will continue in some form or fashion, barring any significant news or catalyst that may influence a significant push to the upside or downside. So with that, NVIDIA, that's kind of what we're looking at there. So now I'd like to open the floor up to some questions. It's already 9:15. So let's do we'll do like 5 to 7 questions, depending on the length of how much I ramble on. So I know you guys dropped some in the chat already. So I'm gonna go scroll up and kind of go from there, right? So in the meantime, you guys look at or take the time to type of questions if you guys have any. And I'll start right here. Miss Finance Girl, did my analysis of Meta kind of answer your question as to what I was looking at, or did that answer what you were looking for, so to speak? Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, so the first question that's all the way up here that was asked, Mr. Richie Rich says, when you say scale in, what is the best way to to analyze and buy the dips when you average? So what I'm looking for, and I'm actually going to use Meta as an example because that's the one I actually averaged out on today before I exited out of position, right? So we're looking at Meta's the 1-minute chart and the 5-minute chart. So right here, I'm pulling up one of the things I said in the chat earlier. So bear with me 1 second, guys, to answer your question a little bit more clear. All right. So I was discussing the low volume pump on Meta, and I was analyzing the 1-minute chart. Okay. So looking at the 1 minute, we see here, it's the 5-minute chart. You see the 1 minute. So when I alerted it, 12:30 here, and this is where I got my first fill, right? I took an average down here once I saw that we were nearing a potential double top at this level, right? So that's where I took my average down. Does that you see what I'm highlighting, Richie? I was looking at the 1-minute chart, saw this was a potential double top, average there, had a little bit of a dip, but it didn't get to my base hit average because I was already down. When I took my average down, I was down 17%, which is right below my threshold of 20% on scalings. And then once I was fully scaling now, instead of being down 17%, I was only down 8%, right, with this average down. Then this got me back down to slight green. I think it was like 1 or 2%. And then I was waiting for the confirmation. We saw the bounce here. This is my line in the sand. Once we passed that, I was out of position. So when you're looking to scale in, you want to look at technical indicators and see what patterns will that you want to look out for. And again, it's not just on one time frame. This one, I just happened to look at the 1 minute because that's what the ticker was trading on for the most part. But if I was to zoom out, look at the 5 minute, it'd be a similar story, right? It'd be a potential double top here. We didn't get it. We actually blew past the double top, kept riding the uptrend. So you want to look for, things like technical patterns, double tops, double bottoms, rising wedge, falling wedge, head and shoulders, all those continuation and reversal chart patterns that will either confirm or disprove your thesis on whether or not the trade is still going in the right direction. Does that answer your question, Richie? And then while you're doing that, I'm going to answer this other one over here. Ben, you asked if all EMAs are together and we were right on top of them as an act. There's a lot of support. Yes. Yes, it does. Typically, the EMAs are these key areas of support and resistance for a ticker during a particular time frame. Because like I said many times before, tickers don't like to be in tight spaces. They're claustrophobic. So they like to get past, whatever EMAs are holding them in. Think of them like I think the better analogy would be think of them like rebellious teenagers, right? Stocks are like rebellious teenagers. The more you kind of hold them and try to keep them confined, they're gonna react a little bit more out there and try to act out and you know get out of the house, sneak out, whatever. Whereas the thing is though, they're still kids at heart. If they go too far away from the EMAs, they always like to have that lifeline back home, right? Like a college student. They want to be able to call home and say, "Hey, mom, dad, can I go get some can I go get some food? Can I get some laundry detergent?" I'm saying this as a former college student. I know what it's like. But think of it like that. That's a best way to think about it and have some fun with the analogy as well. They're like a rebellious student who, once they go off on their own, they want to come back home whenever they can, but still want to have their space. Um, let's see here. What else we got? Good. Perfect, Richie. We got AT says lots of consolidation on NVIDIA before that move towards the end. Yes, let's actually take a look at the NVIDIA chart again. And taking a look at it, you see this is the 1 minute, but take a look at the 15 is what we're looking at here. And we started to get a nice bit of consolidation as well as an uptick in volume. So that just kind of confirmed push towards the upside. Finance Girl asked, can we have an idea of what's coming for SPY? Let's take a look at SPY, right? Well, SPY is kind of like the same thesis I have for IWM and QQQ for that matter. I think we're going to see a bit of a downtrend because, well, this is the 15-minute. What do we see here? Double top on the 15-minute. Let's look at daily. What do we got here? A potential retracement back down towards the 20 EMA. We're actually nearing 52-week highs here as well. But let's take a look at the minute-by-minute chart. And you can see that we were actually in a bit of a downtrend. We're way oversold again on the longer time frames of 15 in the daily. But on the shorter periods, the 1 minute, 5 minute, we are right in the RSI zone for the 5 minute chart, but we're at a key level here. If we fall below that EMA 60, we're going to likely retrace down to 200 right here, right? And that level of sell volume at the end of the day seems to indicate that we're going to open up a little bit lower than we close, right? In addition to looking at the 1 minute chart, that kind of also confirms it because we broke past all of the previous EMAs here. We actually had a close below the EMA 200 on a huge candle, actually. That's a huge red candle, or a huge wick on the candle, I should say. And if we reject off this 200 on the 1 minute chart, we're probably going to see a free fall back down to like 448. So what I would say, I would be cautiously bearish on SPY. Because again, we're going to some major tech earnings the next few days. So that's market teams kind of see a little bit pullback before we have a rocket ship up. Ooh, excuse my language for those who might be offended by that. Rocket ship up. Okay. But like I said, I'm cautiously bearish on SPY in the very short term. But long term, I'm very bullish as usual because I think the markets want to go up. Will also asked, would you say SPY QQQ be turning bearish? So I actually kind of answered both yours and Finance Girl's questions with one stone. So do I confirm average with any EMA? Richie, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do I confirm average with any EMA? So if you can elaborate a little bit in the question, I'm actually going to the next one while you do that. Uncle Pennybag states, what's your stop loss for fully scaled in? 15%. 15% is my line in the sand. Very 99. Well, let's say 95% of the time. There are some trades that I will take that I will not have a stop loss on, but those are usually lottos or those are something that I'm like, okay, look, if this one goes down in the short term, like a longer swing, I'm okay with holding it just because I have time to play out and I think that my thesis will be correct. But in those positions, I'm never fully scaled in. So to answer your question a little bit more directly, when I'm fully scaled in a position, 15% is my line of the sand because that means, let's say if I invest $1,000 into a trade, that means that's 150 bucks I would lose. If I lost 150 bucks, that means I need to call it a day and keep. Yes, Paul, food and laundry, staples of college life. Trust me. All right, and the final question here, or actually, no, this is Richie's clarification question, and then I'll do one more after that. All right. As you use so many EMAs, what do you confirm with everything except for 200? What do you confirm? You just 50. Okay. So let's actually take a look here. We're going to use SPY. So generally speaking, the 20 and the 200 are your first lines of defense and last line of defense, right? But the 50 and the 60 are the ones that kind of give you an idea of what direction the ticker is going to be heading, right? Because those are like the mid lines. Those are like the support levels within the first and last line of defense, right? So if you were to say, let's say this was a castle that we were building, right, that we were defending, the 20 EMA would be like your moat, right? It's your that circle thing of water, that the first thing that people see when they try to storm your castle, right? And then the 200 EMA would be like your throne room, right? That's where the king and queen and royalty is at. They're in there. They're protected by their knights, all that stuff. The 50 and the 60, think of them like your cannon shoulders and your archers, right? They're the ones like, hey, look, we can either turn the tide of battle in your favor, or we could, if we go down, then it's likely not looking nice for you, right? So when we're using the 50 and the 60, we're looking to see if that's going to confirm a rejection or a bounce off of key levels, right? And you can see here on SPY during the last hour, we bounced off of the 50, right? Bounced off the 50, got past the 200, went below the 200, retested the 50, went above it again, retested the 50, broke below the 50 and the 60, bounced up, retested the 20, retested the 50. And then once we rejected off the 50 one last time, we got a solid close below the 60. We retested 200 and got a close below that. So we saw the rejections here because we could not break past the support and resistance areas that were consolidating right here. So I know that was a little long-winded and I used a very weird analogy, Richie, but does that kind of paint a little bit better picture of what we're looking at with that? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, John, it was the first thing that popped in my head. I don't know. My mind's a little creative today. I don't know what's going on. So hopefully the analogy will scare you guys. Perfect, 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 perfect. And maybe I had Game of Thrones on the mind or something. I don't know. But I'll do one more question, guys. One more question. Let's see what you guys got for me. What did I see in my Google swing on Friday? That is an excellent question. A great way to end. So, but you gotta get HBO Max, man. The first 5 seasons are pretty good. No, first 6 seasons are really good. Season 7 is okay. Season 8, it made that. Just let you know that. Yes, Cajun. You actually had a very, very good point. We'll get to that at the very end. So, guys, before you get off, please remember to drop your Discord names in the chat so we can take attendance for our any giveaways that we will be doing, guys. Ben, the first 3 episodes of season 8 were not bad. Last 3 episodes were a very, very tough watch. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna do no spoilers yet, even though the show finished airing 4 years ago. But yeah, it hit an inverse V uh, the audience. That's definitely what happened. All right, so let's take a look at Google, guys. You guys know how I love that ticker. So we're gonna zoom out here. And my whole thing that I was seeing on Google, I was looking at, okay, cool. We're gonna bounce. We had several retests here. We actually had a quadruple bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bottoms here. We didn't break below any of those. Knew it was a good time to have some calls. Also, tech was going to be very, very bullish at that time because QQQ was ramping up and we were in a very, very oversold period on our sideband. So when I bought in and I actually scaled in a little bit more when we had this dip, because I know that dip kind of had everybody concerned. Got a little bit better average. Only did one average down on Google on Friday. And then if you guys remember, I was like, hey, we're going to let this rock. I had 126 calls. We had dropped down to low 125s on the daily chart on the 1 minute. And we kind of hovered around in a tight area of consolidation for a while, right? Tight area consolidation. But then market's going to close. We saw some crazy run up, right? We're like, what's going on here? Right? Cool. It would have been great. I actually did not. I know some people took out their base hit on this point in time. I actually did not take my first base hit until right before the market closed. I forget who. I believe it might have been Hovering Salt that took, and one more person I know that said they had their base on Google at this point when they had that run up. I unfortunately missed it. I was really busy on Friday, and I was lucky to get out with the 7% on the base right off the top. But then once we have that type of close, that amount of volume coming in, what the heck? All right. Sorry about that, guys. With the amount of volume coming in that we saw, that we knew that we were still in an uptrend because we were nowhere near the levels of RSI bands. And then you see this huge green candle here shoot up. And it was just like, all right, cool. Now we just gotta wait. Wait and see how we look when we open, right? Got all the way up to 127, right on the open. And then we had our little bit of downtrend, cool down period, because this was way overbought. But by then you should have been out. This was at 50% right off the top, right in this sense. So that's what I was looking at with my Google Play. I believe that was CK that asked that. Yes. So I hope that answered your question, CK. If I didn't, I apologize. But that's kind of what I was looking for there. And I'm very happy it played out. And I'm glad I got out what I did, because had I got greedy, like, no, I want to see 128, I would have got burnt significantly. So that being said, guys, I really appreciate, not just we really appreciate you spending all this time with us on our market recaps. CK, yes, before bottoms and not falling below that is actually a very, very good sign, because we not break below it. And that should have been a sign that there's clear, strong support levels there. But again, thank you guys for spending your money eating with us. I really, really, really enjoy these now. Like I like being able to get you guys on like a more of a 1-to-1, not 1-to-1, 1-to-30 basis, but a base where you guys can ask questions. I can offer a little bit more insight to some of the plays that we made throughout the day, as well as just the market in general, where we think the market's going. So again, if you guys haven't already, drop your Discord names in the chat. We will take attendance for that. And then for those of you who have people that wanted to watch it, this will be recorded. I will drop that recording in there later on tonight once it's fully rendered. Just like I did, probably actually post it on our YouTube channel as well. So feel free to check that out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you guys haven't already. That being said, guys, thank you so much for your time. You guys have a great night, okay?